No more Chris. No more Crispy. Is it Crispy?
Well, we haven't erased him from existence, but yes, unfortunately, Mr. B will no longer be taking part in our little campaign as Lieutenant Garrow. So, yes.
No.
However, I did ask whether or not we keep or chuck Garrow, and Mr. Powell said that Garrow is OP, and therefore we don't want to get rid of him anytime soon. So there you go.
And also, we've lost our Klingon punchy person, so we need someone else.
We need another punchy person, exactly. And speaking of punchy people...
Hello.
Hey!
Oh, it's a Connie.
It's a Connie monster.
Yeah, my laptop was fine just now, but it just had to restart it because the internet wasn't working. But fingers crossed that was the only incident and will be only the incident today.
Excellent. Let's hope. Alright then. Just give folks time enough to sign on. Excuse me. So, Swelter. Have you tried forcing an unexpected reboot? Thank you, Moss. That was me, in case people are wondering. What kind of accent was that, Matt? If you haven't watched the IT Crowd, the British version, then I don't know what to tell you.
The best version.
Yeah, Richard Ayoade is a treasure. He is fantastic.
Richard Ayoade? Is that how you pronounce his name?
Yeah, Iwadi.
He is just fantastic every time. He's just, I love him to bits. He's fantastic, especially on like the panel quiz shows.
Interesting. Well then, since I have got everybody here, just to give folks time enough to log in and get everything downloaded and whatnot, I'm going to quickly put a pause on the general room rumble and the Clinky Clunky, and I'm going to fire us off into our intro video, and once we come back we're going to have more than a couple of things to do, so stay put folks, we'll be back in a few moments. Folks, welcome along to the continuing adventures of the USS Combs. I'm MJ the GM, and I shall be your GM for the next couple of hours. And of course, the first announcement being that we're going to have to change our opening intro sequence because we've lost our security and tactical officer. So thanks for all the time you put in with us, Chris. And just to give you one last posting away, we've got the last bit of work that I was given that Chris had done, which is here. I'm bringing it up in front of me now. Next part of Midwinter, episode 7. And of course, we've got his website, his actor profile that he's put up. So if you fancy checking out some of his show reels or find out what Chris has been interested in and contacting him for extra jobs, here you have it, right here. And as usual, we're also plugging the Utter Crisp, even though Mr. Powell is not with us at this present moment in time. He may pop by later, but we still do not have his Yakuza 0 video, but it's still in progress. He's working very hard. In the meantime, we can still enjoy all these wonderful videos that he made for us on the Utter Crisp Gaming channel. So, here you go. So thanks, Chris. Bell, for everything you've brought to this wacky group. So his character, Lieutenant Garrow, will now be put to one side as a supporting character, so we can still use him, but Chris Bell won't be playing as him anymore. But we've still got enough for a crew, so there we go. Yes?
I've had an idea.
Ooh, he's had an idea for us.
Garrow hadn't spent all his milestones. Can we upgrade the ship?
Immediate cannibalism.
Well, no, that's
'Cause
a
we can-
fair question.
Because we can use the major milestones to increase the systems or departments.
Sadly, Garrow used both of the major milestones.
Ah! What's he got left then? 'Cause
3 mediums and 11 minus.
Mediums. What do mediums do again?
Usually shifting attributes, or rather disciplines, I should say, about
we
in
don't
on
wanna
a
replace-
one-for-one basis. This does, however, bring me to a very important point, which comes down to the fact that when was that? The 8th, which is about three odd days ago, I did share with the group the fact that I now have the electronic version of 2nd edition Star Trek Adventures. I'm still working my way through that, but the one important point of this is, of course, that the guys, I should say, who helped code the Foundry system that we're using to portray Star Trek Adventures here is, of course, has been updated recently to start taking 2nd edition stuff. So I haven't yet updated what we're using to use 2nd edition Star Trek Adventures as of yet. I'm waiting until we've had a good old look through the rules and have gotten a good idea of what's changed and what's staying the same. Plus, the other consideration to make is that, as well as my needing to go through the rulebook pretty much as a whole and see what it is I need to wrap my head around, if I do decide to, or rather when I decide to upgrade the system on Foundry to use 2nd edition rules, it's going to be not just for you guys, but for the Navis guys too. So it's going to have to be more or less a global kind of decision that both groups are going to have to try and... We're going to have to look for a time where there's a nice gap for both groups and then maybe jump into 2nd edition rules for that.
Nobody wants to know their opinion.
Yeah, I agree. If we wanted their opinion, we would give it to them.
I say this, and you know, I'm friends with every single one of them. actually, one of them GMs one of my other games. So
You can throw shade at them still, it's fine.
You
Yeah.
need me to share my screen for you.
Yes, please. Yes, I should be all right in a couple of months, actually. But yes, I still need to.
So, anyway, the most important thing I want to bring to your attentions regarding a future shift over to 2nd edition rules is there's a change in how milestones work for 2nd edition, and I'd like to start introducing that idea here so that when we do switch over, it's not too big a switch. A lot of the changes made are, of course, because 2nd edition rules gets rid of challenge dice, so anything like that can wait for the time being, but some little bits here and there are actually worth implementing now. So I am going to look to be doing that.
Ooh. Does that mean veteran is completely broken because you auto?
Yeah, so something like
Succeed.
veteran or the power related one where you roll a challenge dice to see if the ship does spend power after all, those are gone. They have to be rejigged in a different way. A lot of stuff like that in 2nd edition has been rejigged, so a lot more stuff uses momentum now. So it gives you the impression that momentum gets spent a lot and therefore has to get retrieved a lot. So there's going to be a lot more chances for momentum spends and momentum gains as a result. But the main thing I wanted to draw everybody's attentions to is, I know we've got a double up on characters now because we've got a Klingon crew and a Starfleet crew, but if you have a look at, for the moment, your Starfleet character notes, so if you proceed to the journal entries section, this new change won't be that big for a couple of you, because I've noticed that some of you have been keeping log notes anyway. But nevertheless, if I go to, let's say, Dr. Sott, even though we don't have Chris Powell with us today, you should find in your Starfleet character notes, when you open it up from the journal section, there should be one bit that says character notes, where things like milestones and acclaim are being stored. And there should be another page called logs. It would be really nice if we could start using your character's personal logs a lot more, especially because, as I've already intimated, the way milestones work in 2nd edition is tied very closely to your character's personal log. So what I would like is that for the moment, whenever any of your characters utilize one of their values in order to spend determination, I would like you to make a note in your log, in your character notes logs area, of the value that you used, and you can either hold on to the star date, or you can hold on to the episode number, or I can tell you either of these things if you forget which it is, just so that you have got a reference. Sorry, what was that, Mark?
Thank you, because I will almost certainly forget both of those, so I'll probably be constantly asking for that.
The same here.
It doesn't have to be a big sentence, it can just be a simple note like, what are we on? Episode 18, used cool in a crisis. And that will more or less do. But it's going to become more and more important to keep a log, especially when it comes to when your characters are using their individual values, because that then transitions over to when we do eventually hit 2nd edition. So everybody groovy with that change. Like I said, the log itself doesn't have to be a big detailed paragraph or even a sentence. You can add that stuff in if you really want, if you feel like giving your own your personal log for your character. I know that's a bit difficult for Dave because he's got no access to Foundry at the moment, so we're going to have to rely on Liz making short, succinct notes in Tavish's character.
I could send you them over Discord if you want.
Well, you could do that. Yeah, you can keep track of it on wherever you are at the moment, and you can just send it to me later. That's fine as well. Take the onus off of Liz doing everything for you.
Yeah.
So
yeah, because I can even see Tavish's thing now. I almost broke the ship, but I did it.
So there. Knowing full well that the commanding officer has to sign off on all logs that are submitted to Starfleet. Personal logs are different though, so yeah. But yeah, if that's cool with folks, that's one change we're going to start implementing from this point onwards. And that will probably carry over to the Klingon crew as well when we get back to them. So it'll be the same for them. There's a log space in each of the character notes for the Klingon crew. They can jot down what values they used on when, in order to facilitate utilizing a point of determination. Whew. Okay, that's the first thing. There's lots of little rules and changes and stuff here and there for 2nd edition, but we're not going to worry ourselves with too many of those for now. That's the only change we're making from this point onwards. Hopefully you guys are okay with it, and it'll make the transition a little easier later on. For now though, next little piece of work we are going to do is we are going to get to the science projects of the crew. So let's quickly jump ourselves over to Deck 1. So that's where a lot of the magic happens.
Do we
Yes.
have a claim to spend before that?
Sure, I think you do. Let's have a check. Does Gurko have a claim to spend? Gurko does have a claim to spend, so I imagine most of you do. So yeah, if you want to get onto expenditure of a claim, now would be the time to do it.
How
Okay.
many?
How much you claim we've got?
Well, it's there in your character notes.
Oh, nice. How much to
Yeah.
go for a promotion?
Which 3, usually.
Right, I'm going to spend 3 to go for a promotion.
Okay. Putting forward for a promotion to Commander. Interesting.
Wonderful.
Me that you'd supersede Lieutenant Commander Lian Zhang in the. Okay. Is Flask's. Sorry, Dave. Hold on to that. Flask's reputation is 5, so yep, you qualify for a attempt at a promotion. Okay, yeah, cool. Dave, what are you going to say?
I'm also going to attempt a promotion.
Got one acclaim left over if someone wants it for a little nudge.
Yeah.
Can I use 3 of my acclaim and promote get Leon Zhang promoted to commander?
Just to put a barrier in the way of Flask becoming first officer. I don't see why not.
She needs to get promoted.
And Flask doesn't.
Does she have enough reputation though?
That's a very good point. Let's check her reputation. She only has 3, so she needs more reputation first. Dave, you were going to say something.
I was going to say if she did that, then I was going to ask Liz for the extra 3 so I can get promoted twice.
Well, you've got 1 spare, so Bonnet has got her own acclaim, which is 4, so she's got enough to pay for a reputation boost of her own if she wants it. Or, of course, paying for that one thing that she doesn't have, which is Legion of Honor.
I was going to say, I'm happy to chuck in my spare acclaim for someone to buy him a Legion of Honor.
Yeah, same here. I'm happy to give the 1 spare I've got as well.
So
Yeah, I'm gonna
Okay, yep.
buy some bling,
Buy some
and now
bling.
have 1. I'll have 1 left over to donate as well.
Actually, thinking about it, if we both give our acclaim, me and Dave, to someone who hasn't spent any, they could get 2 Legion of Honors. So Lian Zhang could get 2 Legion of Honors. And be
I
on
was
par with the
thinking-
rest of us.
I was thinking Bonnet rather than Lian Zhang, but if you
Yeah,
wanted to
yeah.
Bonnet,
buy
right?
1 for Bonnet and 1 for Zhang, so they'd each have 1, because neither of them do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Connie, what
Is
were
that
you
all right
looking
with
to
you, Liz?
spend? We'll do this in a sec. Connie, what were you going to spend your acclaim on, sorry?
I wanted to spend it on the Cochrane Medal of Excellence because of my serum, which I have named TLC. It doesn't stand for anything yet. I'll figure something out. So, we'll be like, I want a bit of TLC, and we're like, okay, here you are. But yeah, that costs 3, and I think I've earned it.
I think you have. I agree with that. Okay, cool. So if you want to go to Award Talents and grab the Cochrane Medal of Excellence and bring it down here.
What was the song by TLC? Like Waterfall?
Yes.
Yeah, don't go chasing waterfall.
And scrubs. I mean, no scrubs.
Oh yeah. No.
I don't know what no scrubs.
Yes, indeed. Select a
Yeah, I'm gonna start
focus that you
singing now.
possess that relates to scientific or engineering field for which you earned the reward. So, which focus earned you that?
I mean, God focus.
I suppose. Right then.
I cannot.
Oh, I get a God complex at this point.
I got that medal as well, but I can't remember what focus I put it on. I think I put it on AI. I'm not too sure.
That would make sense because that was your major scientific breakthrough. So yes. Let's put it on.
Oh yeah, you.
Oh, you put it on computers.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Which kind of includes AI, because that's
In a way,
What,
yes,
yeah,
yes,
go on.
yes, it does. Yes, it does. I mean, standard computer focus is fine, but then a more refined focus on the kind of heuristic programming you need to do for artificial intelligence is a step above, one would argue, because I had to sit through those damn lectures with glazed over eyes. Not that I'm bitter or anything, but anyway. Okay, so we've spent 3 for Gurkha, we've spent 3 for Tavish, we've spent 3 for Flask, which means there's 1 point left over for each, which means they can spend 1 to buy, I don't know, Lian Zhang a Legion of Honor.
Yeah.
And that means Bonnet is free to use her 4 acclaim to get whatever she wants. So, what are you thinking, Liz?
She's gonna up her reputation.
Playing it. Bastard lips. I like it. Risky. But that's what kind of pilot you are. Okay, cool.
I mean, she's only an ensign still, too.
Exactly, and she's already done very well for herself, so let's increase her reputation to 4. Right. Most folks at the moment have got a reputation of 5.
5?
So, do we have anybody who is on a lower... Oh, they spent their reputation, didn't they, to go all the way up to 5? Anybody who hasn't? Not really. Okay. I will get the text for the reputation 4 when I next get the chance. For right now, we'll just put it there and up that there as well. So, yes, very short space of time, Madeleine Bonnet has improved her reputation quite a bit as a very capable helms officer. Cool. Very good. Anybody else with anything related to that kind of thing, or should we get on with science? What have we got left to do? We've got the energy dampening and absorption weapon. Now, this is interesting, actually, because Chris is now no longer with us in a player sense, not in a passed away sense. Let me quickly add. Jeez. But one of the interesting weapon upgrades you can get in 2nd edition is something that allows you to siphon energy. So we may as well put that project on hold and wait for 2nd edition to come around and see if we want to rejig some of the ship talents. The same goes for resonance shifter for phases. There's going to be a talent or an ability for ships to more easily switch the resonance frequency of their weapon systems. And Dave, this one made me laugh because a while ago you suggested that Tavish try creating a multiple weapon systems for the combs to use, so not just phasers, but we're also talking potentially disruptors as well as other various different weapon types all strapped to the same ship.
Yep.
That is possible now with buying a talent for the ship to get a secondary weapon system.
Oh, we can make our ship into a rainbow ship. Sounds brilliant.
So, as soon as I read that, I laughed because I thought of you. I shot down your idea because it sounded silly to me. It sounded a bit too overpowered. And yet, there it is in 2nd edition rules, right there as a ship talent you can get. So, somebody was listening to the stream that day, went to Modiphius and said, "Guys, I've got a great idea."
It's not my idea. Damn them all. No.
Does that mean we have to lose one of our talents to swap it out?
Well, this will be it. When 2nd edition does come around, some talents might not work the same way that they do now. So there will need to be a period of review. The same will go for your characters, actually, that some talents will either... They'll stay more or less the same, but some talents might mechanically work a little different. And if you decide, well, that's rubbish, then we can always swap it out for another one. The same will go for the ship. I'm not above. A lot of stuff still remains essentially the same. The awards are still in there, and they're still named pretty much the same awards, and they functionally do a lot of the same stuff. So you'll be glad to know that in 2nd edition, Legion of Honor is still there and still does essentially the same thing. So you've still got that parachute if you need to get it. Acclaim works more or less the same way as well, you'll be glad to hear, but milestones, ooh boy, they work a hell of a lot differently, and that's why I'm introducing the logs thing, but that's a story for another time. Right now we're getting on to science, the only science project we have remaining, now that we have created our little TLC compound. You may... I don't know, Connie, you may as well go look up some Treknobabble and see if you can get one that has a T and an L and a C in it for some kind of chemical compound.
Oh yeah.
Lymphosome chemical booster or something, so a TLC booster. And yes, I just made those words up. But the only scientific project we have remaining is the return of the dots, the repair droids for the ship, which I do believe was Flesk's pet project, and we were currently looking at utilising ancient power sources as a means of creating these little buggers. So,
yeah, I was going to ask if we've got no other science project, if we can get Tavish and some others to assist with this.
Yeah, basically everybody's free now to do these projects, and considering what this crew recently went through with their little sojourn with the Klingons, and the fact that the Klingon Federation War has officially started, these AI robots become even more impotent, potentially. So, yes, anyone with any kind of background in ancient power sources or power sources in general, or any kind of archaeotechnology would be beneficial. Now, I know Tavish has got historical engineering, but that's not the same thing as archaeological engineering.
It is experimental technology.
There is experimental tech, however. That kind of thing would be acceptable, because this is, for the moment, experimental tech. So anybody else you want to bring on this in that regard, or whoever wants to volunteer themselves in that regard, would be fine. Ensign Kenson, which I still can't say without laughing, does not. Ensign Girani, I mean, she's still got holography as a focus, even though I'm pretty sure nobody ever wants to go into a holodeck with her again.
I will.
Garrow, not really. Ensign Akos, not really. Dufresne is your stellar cartography specialist, so she's mostly to do with the stars. Eversion has got quantum mechanics and basic physics, so there's that. Of course, there's Gurkha with the god tier focus.
Yeah, let's do that then. If Tavish and Gurkha want to help out.
Yes,
If you have to.
If we have to.
Also help out.
Hang on a second, I need to interject something here.
I definitely think this is a good idea to help out. I really want to see how this goes.
And I'm going to spend one of my star crosses in the hope of scoring some wins.
Okay, so that doubles your focus range. Nice. Okay, so Liz, can I have Tavish give reason and engineering with a focus on experimental technology, 1 dice. Connie, can I have Gurkha give us reason and science with your usual god focus, 1 dice. And of course, ooh, hello! That was fast.
Nice.
And there's another one.
Ooh!
Right then, well, Flesk, you're getting all the help today. These guys have finished their projects, they're bored, they want to help. 6
Nice.
in total. That was a lot of help, a lot of expert help in a very short space of time. So, Yeah, the whiteboard is now filled with equations. The computer programs are all got scientific simulations loaded in. A lot of it's looking very interesting. You're utilizing specifically, if I recall, any and all of that archaeotech that you've been coming across in the Shackleton Expanse as inspiration for creating some of these systems. So they are providing potentially valuable insights how to create advanced robotics. So for the moment, yes, you're very much in the simulation stage. The simulations are now coming back reasonable. So now it comes down to finally plotting into the solution, into the holodeck simulators and what else to see if it can yield the results you're actually after. But that was a huge leap forward in your progress. So very close to the end of this particular research avenue, I reckon. What it yields at the end, well, we'll have to find out when you complete it. But very good, very good. Okay. Nobody else with any other scientific projects they want to get going? I mean, like I just noted, Garrow's one now becomes largely not obsolete or defunct, just going to be dealt with in a different way. Gurkha, you've completed yours, and Katarish, you've recently completed one too. You've both been utilised, unless Bonnet has got an idea for a project she wants to undergo. I mean, you've already
I am still thinking. I know, I was thinking about how to back you with the Ring of War.
I mean... no, I can't think of anything off the top of my head at the moment, so for the time being, if we can't think of anything, we will lay that to one side. Okay. Now I'm going to take you to the next new thing that I was going to show you guys. As I intimated previously, and now that we have launched into the Second Federation Klingon War, brought about as a result of the Klingon Empire invading the Arcanus sector, claiming that they have ancient rights to the system. The Federation and the Klingon Empire are now officially in conflict, and so we are going to be moving on to using the rules as given in the Klingon Federation campaign module guide. If I actually got that right. Federation Klingon War Tactical Campaign Guide, pardon me. Excuse me. So, I'm going to take you to a page that is going to be very full of stuff. Do not panic. I will explain it all. So here we go. So this is a lot. This is a lot. So, if we take a step back for a moment, we are approaching this from the point of view of probably Admiral Hebert herself. So this has got less to do with the Combs crew, more to do with the Admiralty having a look at the broad scope of what's going on at this present moment in time in the conflict. So I'm just going to switch the music over to being something a little less jolly, and switch us over to something a little different. So like I said, we've got a lot of stuff going on here, but the main thing, of course, is that we are looking at the conflict from the perspective of the 20th Fleet, which is what the Combs belongs to, along with the Venture and the Thunderchild. There are other ships in the 20th Fleet, of course. Now, at the moment, you have a number, or rather, the fleet has a number of active assets that you have to work with, and that is in this section here. Assets. These are things you can use to basically take care of stuff that is going on in the general area of operation that the 20th Fleet are operating in. Your assets can represent ships at your disposal that you can post to certain points of interest. They represent characters that you can also post to points of interest in order to get them to deal with situations. You also get resources, and resources are more like one-shot things that can give you a boost on certain certain stuff in order to help out. The main thing, of course, is this bit down here, points of interest. This is essentially all the stuff that's going on during this campaign turn. Every campaign turn will take place at the start of a new episode. And technically that makes it a bit weird and wonky when we jump to the Klingon crew as well, because we will be taking care of this campaign turn at the start of an episode that does feature your Klingon characters. So we're still fighting the campaign from Starfleet's point of view, but we will also be playing as your Klingon crew as well to catch what they're up to on their side of the conflict. So it'll be a weird back and forth moment on that one. But for the meantime, because this is a Combs episode, we are starting the Starfleet campaign against the Klingons. So I'm going to take game paused off so you can have a good old look. So points of interest is basically stuff that's going on now that potentially needs addressing in the overall situation with what's going on in the area that the 20th Fleet have got active control over. It could be tactical situations where obviously the Klingons are making some move or other, or some other polity is getting involved and making things interesting or difficult, and therefore might need to be dealt with. There are also, just because the Federation is in conflict with the Klingon Empire, it doesn't mean that other things get put by the wayside either, so there'll still be things like routine patrol missions or supply missions that still need to happen and still need to be taken care of. There will be other weird scientific ventures that need to be seen to, because Starfleet doesn't pause its exploration just because it's at war. It just means that they'll happen a little less often. And of course there's always the unknown that will be cropping up from here and there with situations that need to be dealt with. So as you can see from this list of points of interest, there are 5 events that are going on at this current moment in time, one of which, the very, very bottom one, is the episode that we will be dealing with today with the Combs. So one of those will technically already be getting dealt with. What we have here are 3 tactical situations and 1 unknown situation. And it'll be up to you guys to decide which of your assets you want to basically send to deal with a particular point of interest. And then we can use the statistics that each asset has in order to try and see if we can successfully deal with the situation, or if we fail to deal with the situation, and all the consequences that come up as a result. So, everybody good with that idea so far?
Yes.
Okay,
Kind of get it.
cool.
I think
It'll
giving it a
become-
go might make it easier.
Yeah, so getting involved in it will probably make it a lot more easy. So, at the moment, because you guys managed to capture the Klingon crew and the head of a Klingon house last episode, rather than just having 5 assets to deal with, you've now got 6, which means you've got 1 extra asset that you earned as a result of your brilliant success last episode. So I told you there was going to be a knock-on effect of what happened. So you've now got 1 extra asset than you otherwise would have had to start with as a result of what happened that episode. So you've got more than you otherwise would have. So your assets are currently, you've got a retired Federation ship, which looks like it's mostly a medical-focused ship with some defensive capabilities. Med means medicine, mil means military. If we look down underneath that, we've got Captain Suren, who's a Vulcan. And Captain Suren has got a reasonably good medical rating. It's got a less good military rating, but it's got a higher focus in it, which is what the 3 is about. So the 11 is basically what he has to roll under to get a success, but 3 is the focus range for his military rating. Per represents personal, which is kind of a weird and wonky one. It's like individual actions that get taken. So rather than dealing with a fleet or a ship, you're dealing with possibly something on a more personal, grounded level, like potentially thwarting an assassination attempt or a diplomat needs seeing to, that kind of thing. So personal represents an asset's ability to deal with more localized situations. Psi obviously represents science. Social represents social diplomatic kind of situation. So as we can see, Captain Seren has got a very high social score and a very high social focus. So that seems to suggest what he is best at. You have also got the USS Randar's Curiosity, which is part of 20th Fleet. That has similar statistics, which you can see at the end here. It looks like it's mostly a science vessel, but it does also have a very interesting quality to it, that it's a rugged design, so if it, as an asset, gets heavily damaged, it only gets minorly damaged. Another asset you've got is Admiral Hardin. He looks like he is, as well, very, very good at social situations. You've also managed to get the USS Stargazer, the Miranda-class version, posted to your ability to operate, which is... it's got a lot better personal and military, so that suggests it's very fast and can respond to military situations better. And this one here, Cunning Ploy, is neither a character nor a ship. It's a resource. So this resource represents some kind of cunning strategy or plan that Starfleet have come up with that can give you an advantage in some fashion. And by the looks of it, you can roll its ratings when you try and roll for whether or not you succeed at something. But a resource needs to be sent along with either a character or a ship in order to get used. So, you've got your points of interest. An infamous Klingon captain has been spotted on an occupied world. If this mission succeeds, you gain 2 extra campaign momentum. Campaign momentum is similar to the momentum you guys accrue during the course of an episode, but of course campaign momentum lasts longer because the campaign is a big stretch of time. And as you can see, there's a little spot up here for campaign momentum. Works in exactly the same way. When you get over and above the number of successes necessary to take care of the situation, any excess becomes momentum. In this case, campaign momentum, which you can spend on different things, which I can get back to if and when we accrue any. Tactical situations, though, as one last note to bring your attention to, have an urgency rating. Starts at 1, can go all the way up to, I believe, 3, pardon me. Intensity of 1 to 3. So intensity 1, urgency 1 I should say, is something that can be dealt with now. But if a tactical situation is not dealt with, or it's failed, its urgency can climb, and there will be consequences as a result of it becoming more of an urgent situation. So, with that in mind, what you can see here is that the first tactical point of interest is going to ask for somebody to use personal, and the 3 rating is how many successes you need to get on a personal roll. So, as an example, you would be probably well put to send, let's see, you'd probably be really well put to send Captain Seren on this one, because his personal is 13 and 3. Which means he'd need to roll 13 and under on 2 dice to get successes, and his focus range is 3, so anything 3 or under would earn 2 successes. Anyone else with a better personal than that? Not really, although the Stargazer does have slightly less of a personal, but has a higher focus range. But, if you attached Cunning Ploy to whoever you sent to deal with that infamous Klingon captain, you could use the Cunning Ploy's rating instead, which is 14.5, which is huge. Which could represent a plan to capture this infamous Klingon captain. So, I know that's a lot of information in a very short space of time that I've just bombarded you with. So I hope you get the general impression of what you need to do here. You are now acting as if you were fleet admirals, having to send assets to deal with situations. You may find that you can't deal with everything, but in this case you've got quite a few assets available to you, so... And, like I've already intimated, one of these is the mission of the Combs today, so you only have to really deal with 4. So, how would you guys like to deal with... Yeah, so Mark has already listed his thoughts.
I wasn't sure what to do with the science one, so those were my ideas. As I was trying to work out where things align. But, yeah.
Any thoughts on what you would like to do with regards to each of these 4 missions, essentially? Who you would like to send?
Cunning Ploy.
Yep.
Cunning Ploy for the Klingon captain.
We have to send the Cunning Ploy with another asset?
With someone or a ship, yes.
I was thinking Captain Seren.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm honestly looking, and I think Mark's thoughts are the most feasible.
Yeah, okay, that's fine.
And then I couldn't work out because I was trying to tick things off, as I don't know what's left after that for what's left for science.
Well, that's why I've moved them, so you can see what is left.
Ah, okay.
So now I'm going to
So
Randar's Curiosity to fill in what you've got left.
I would send the Randar's Curiosity for the science.
I was thinking the unknown one for that, since that one's a science 3.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
Polaris mission doesn't have any specs. That's why I also thought the same for the unknown, because we know that it would roll okay for it.
So,
Okay.
the Randar's Curiosity to the unknown one, yes?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Okay.
The
We can always change our
High
minds,
Order.
so let's have a look.
Okay, yeah, let's see what's left.
So you've now got retired Federation ship, Admiral Hardin, and the Stargazer remaining. Now you can send a person, a character, on a ship to deal with the situation. So, I mean, you've got 2 ships and two tactical situations to deal with.
Yeah, because those have urgency, so...
I think, the Stargazer to take on the enemy flagship?
Military 12? Yeah, that would make sense.
For the
Okay.
determine enemy plans. The recon mission.
Yeah, the recon... We don't necessarily need to use the Admiral.
Yeah, I mean, we could always also send the Admiral on the Stargazer to take out the the enemy flagship,
Us?
Yeah,
because both have decent military.
yeah. I like the idea of the retired ship going on recon rather than on actual military. And then we've
Just
got
a holiday for them.
yeah, and then we've got nothing for science, but that doesn't necessarily cause a problem.
But
Or
that
can we
is,
send
like I said, that science mission is the Combs' mission, so that's cool.
Oh, in which case this looks good to me.
So let's deal with, if I just take this up here, the infamous Klingon captain has been spotted and we have allocated Captain Seren and a cunning ploy to deal with it. So, it's a personal mission of difficulty 3, so yeah, you can either roll Captain Seren's, but you are using the cunning ploy, so we may as well use that. So, let's determine, let's go from top to bottom. That's going to be easily enough. Connie, can I get you to roll me 2 20-sided dice, please, then?
Alrighty.
So you can use the dice tray. That's the first one, thank you. So we can see what it is, a 14. And the second one, please. That's 1 success already. 18 is not a success, I'm afraid. Okay. Actually, why does that plus
What's
2?
the difference between... Yeah, I thought I would roll 2 at once, but...
No, if you want to roll more than 1 dice, you click the dice icon more than once and it'll add that number.
Oh, okay.
Dice. But what I'll go with is I will go with what you rolled on each. The first was a 12, the second was an 18. Okay, so a 12 and 18 means we have scored 1 success. Less. But we can get Captain Seren to help with that, so if I can get Liz now to roll me 1 20-sided dice, please, to represent Captain Seren's assistance. Oh, that's not good at all. Alright, so this infamous Klingon captain is putting up more of a fight than necessary. We have lost that one. Alright, so we needed 3. We failed it by 2. Let's see what the consequences are of that, then. Resolving conflict. Alright, so if the number of successes scored was less than difficulty, then the players have failed. You can decide to withdraw in failure or to succeed at cost. Basically, you give me threat if you want to succeed at cost.
I want to succeed.
What about everybody else?
Same.
Okay. The mission counts as a flawed success then, in that case. So, we generate... Next campaign turn then, we'll generate an additional point of interest. So rather than having to only deal with 4 or 5, you will have to deal with 6. As well as that, you will have to roll to determine a loss of ship or character used in this conflict. So, will you keep Captain Seren? Will he disappear? In that case, I'm going to hand the reins over to Mark. Roll me a d20, please.
No, that's a d12. Whoops. Try that again. Oh.
17. Nothing serious. He's available for the next game turn, so he isn't dead. You can still keep him. Whoa. So it was a setback for him, but you do lose Cunning Ploy. What else happens as a result of a flawed success? Increase the starting threat for the scenario being played out today. Alright, so I get given threat. So you have succeeded, but at cost. So if you have succeeded, the challenge is overcome, the point of interest is resolved successfully. So that infamous Klingon captain has been captured, and you have dealt with that. So Captain Seren survived that encounter, which is good. Now we're going on to the recon mission requiring to determine enemy plans. This is a science. Now, the retired Federation ship has no rating, so we will have to go with just rolling two 20-sided dice and see what happens. Which means that I'm going to hand this over to Liz now. Can you roll me 2 20-sided dice, please? Let's see how you do. 14 and a 15. With no rating, we're assuming a 10 and a 1, which means neither of those actually landed. So that's another one failed.
I'm not liking these dice.
No, indeed not.
I know.
So, do you once more want to try to succeed at cost, knowing what this last success at cost did?
I kind of want to.
Oh.
I'll let people think.
Yeah, I mean, this was only just a recon mission. We can always go back. Fulfill it. Like, next time there'll be a different recon mission. We can put a better ship on it.
Mhm.
Okay.
So you're okay with it just plain old failing?
Yeah, it just means that we'll be getting whatever their mission or what their
Mission failings,
plans
okay.
are. It just their plans come to fruition, so we'll just have something to deal with next time.
Okay, so essentially the asset remains intact, but the mission fails. So your retired Federation ship remains in your list of assets, but the mission itself just plain old fails. So each tactical threat that remains, so that's not to be done yet, so we'll determine that. Now we get to enemy flagship is conducting a military patrol. You are sending Admiral Hardin and the Stargazer along. Move this guy out of the way. Alrighty. So you are sending Admiral Hardin and the Stargazer. This is a military 3. The ship can assist, or Admiral Hardin can assist. Considering Hardin has got the higher military rating, I would recommend that the Stargazer assist, and the Admiral do the majority of the heavy lifting.
Makes sense.
So I'm going to ask Mark now to roll 2d20 for Admiral Hardin, and I'm going to ask Connie to roll 1d20 for the Stargazer. We'll see how we do.
Rolling. Come on.
Ooh, that's good.
Oh, fuck.
That's not as good. 17 and a 17 for Hardin means that fails as well, but there's one success that comes as a result of the Stargazer. It's not under there, whatever though, so it's only one. This was a military 3, which means you failed by 2. Failure or succeed at cost?
With Admiral Hardin, we don't get him if he says.
If it's a plain old failure, he doesn't die and you don't lose the Stargazer either.
Yeah, but the first time a tactical point of interest would escalate, it doesn't, and it can't be used the next campaign turn.
Yes, you can use his. You can use his special ability. Yes.
What are people's thoughts on that? We prevent the escalation, but we lose him for one turn, so we don't get cost. Because we risk him anyway.
Yeah, but we
So we can either just eat the failure, get both back,
and it'll stay at an urgency 1 mission.
or we give it urgency 2, lose Hardin for 1 turn, or we risk both with the rolls for a success at cost.
And just I think, given how well we've been doing, if we should just eat the failure.
I know.
yeah.
Yeah.
The rolls have not been that good, and I really don't think we should lose the whole ship.
Okay.
Which is kind of why we can use Admiral special ability. We only lose him for 1 turn.
Yeah, so we'll stick Admiral Hardin off to one side here, representing that the mission remains, but it won't increase in urgency.
No, that's just my vote. I want to know what the rest of the team goes for.
Yeah, sure.
Because I'm happy to go for the just eat the failure, if that's what everyone wants to do. I'm just trying to explain why I think that's a good idea. Because we
I don't think it's a good idea, just for the simple fact that we have no idea next time we come around to doing this if we'll need the Admiral, or not.
That's a good
We're
point.
increasing the likelihood because that's going to go up with urgency and probably more difficult.
So we should probably keep him around for next time.
Okay. Or just
So
eat the
you
failure.
are not using his special ability, and you're just eating the failure, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody good with that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So this is kind of interesting. This is very much the opening gambit of the war, and it definitely seems like Starfleet is on the back foot at the moment.
Yeah, we need more and better assets.
Now, there is good news in that regard, but we have to finish the rest of this turn first. So the last thing we have is we've sent the Randar's Curiosity to deal with an unknown situation where a vessel and crew are caught in a strange cosmic bubble. So, who rolled last? It was Mark, so that means Connie. We are rolling for science here, so roll me 2 20-sided dice, please. Let's see how the Randar's Curiosity deals. That's much better. That's 2 successes, I do believe. Their science is 12, so both are 12 and under, so that's 2 successes. Focus was 3. Okay. You needed science 3. That was 2 successes, you needed a third. Okay. So that one's a failure too. Let's see.
This is hard.
This
I
is
think we need to
hard,
put
man.
more-
Yeah.
We needed to dedicate more assets to get more dice.
And there was actually an event going on at that same time that, because of the whole situation with the war, crew morale is actually quite low. So even that 12 doesn't work because the 12 got lowered to an 11. So
Yeah,
you actually failed by 2 rather than just 1.
Yeah, we need to put more dice against each point of interest. We can't hit all of them. We have to throw more resource at
Well, the good
individual
news
ones.
is that the unknown mission, at the very least, the unknown point of interest. Let me just find my notes on this. Generating problems, determining mission details. We have unknown, where you basically. The good news is it just plain failed. So unlike a tactical situation, you can fail unknown situations and they don't necessarily come back to bite you. If you would have rolled a complication, of course, like a 20, that would have been something else entirely. But that situation does eventually resolve itself, but that means essentially the Randar's Curiosity has been pretty much kept up in that little strange situation when it could have been utilized elsewhere, maybe. But for the most part, yes, Starfleet isn't used to a vast military operation like this. It hasn't had to do it in some time at all, and that's obviously showing quite readily here with these. But nevertheless, that has been. Yes, go on.
I've got a terrible idea for the crew. Just put to the rest of the team for next time. We got a pretty beastly ship and some good crew members, and we can farm momentum a little bit. Maybe it's worth next time eating more failures as a success with cost, because we're just increasing our mission, our main mission, when we encounter this.
Interesting.
What do you think? Because we haven't got any of our medals or buffs for this, which is why we're struggling.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if we make it a little bit harder, or a lot harder, depending on how badly we roll next time, we might be able to make up for it with the combs.
Alright, well, either way, the enemy flagship conducting military patrol has gone from Urgency 1 to Urgency 2, and it has now gone from Military 3 to Military 4 difficulty. Likewise, the recon mission to determine enemy plans has gone from Urgency 1 to Urgency 2, and has gone from Science 2 to Science 3.
Yeah, we're going to be using a lot of assets on those. I think we need to start taking success with cost.
Okay, so successes and failures. Okay, unresolved points of interest. What was that? An unknown point of interest was failed or not investigated. It's removed from play. Next turn, an additional point of interest is generated, and each difficulty challenge tied to that point of interest is increased by 1. So for not resolving the unknown, you have generated an additional point of interest, and it'll be a little harder than it otherwise would have been when I randomly generate them. Okay, but let's have a look.
Now I'm definitely thinking.
Go on, sorry.
Yeah, I'm now definitely thinking success with cost when we fail, because we couldn't get military 3. I don't see how we're going to succeed on military 4.
Depends what assets you get, but let's go with every exploration point of interest resolved this turn. You didn't do any. Every point of campaign momentum unused. You didn't gain any. And of course, we get progression if you guys, as written in the success section of each mission brief. So you will gain a point of campaign progression as a result of if you manage to succeed at the Combs' mission, which will be starting soonish. So I'm going to leave that alone for now. Anything else? For every 5 points of progression accumulated, you can roll on the progression table, but we're not there yet. We are not there yet. So that's the campaign turn. So the only thing left to do is to generate new assets that you've been given, which you will get with the USS Mercia. And you gain an asset with an Orion pilot that you met on Narendra Station. Raina.
Great, I thought I would never see those Orions again.
So this brings me to this little notation by here, supply priority 2. At the end of every campaign turn, you get 2, which is what supply priority 2 means, 2 new assets at the end of your campaign turn. So, even if you fail
on your
missions, you still gain some additional supplies. In this case, the Mercia and Raina. Okay.
Is there a way to increase supply?
It depends on... Some missions can grant you additional bonuses, like that point of interest which said that if you succeeded at it, it would have given you additional campaign momentum. So some things can grant you boosts to stuff. We just have to get there first.
But I do like the Mercia, because now look at it, it's science.
Yep. Heavy science there. So yeah, if you need to, you can throw that at something that requires science. And of course, like we've noted, maybe throwing more than one asset at a point of interest at a time. So, but that's for next time. So that's how a war campaign turn works. So it definitely seems at the early part of the conflict that the Klingons have got some kind of tactical edge on Starfleet at the moment. We'll see how well you deal with that in the near future. In the meantime, if everyone is cool with what happened there, we are going to move things over to today's mission. This, for the purpose of your logs, is episode 18, and I have titled this not I. This is actually from the Discovery Campaign Guide, and therefore this is called A Bridge to Everywhere. As such, I shall be reading the following. Captain's Log, Stardate 50044.5. It has been 1 month since the Klingons evicted every Federation citizen from Starbase 364. In that time, the Combs has been in near constant engagements with the Klingons, from Melona and Arcanus sectors all the way to Calandra and Eladrel, and all points in between. The crew have performed as expected of them, and then some. The Combs herself has also borne up well under the near constant conflicts she has been called to engage in. But now we have received new orders, and are rendezvousing at Starbase 395 in the Solaria system in order to bring on board the Admiral responsible for our next mission. Personally, this will not be a meeting I am looking forward to. And so, we head over to the transporter room. Assembled in the Combs' primary transporter room is Security Chief Garrow, Captain Sobek, and Lieutenant Gurkow. Transporter Chief Zonvagor, as ever, is ready in Transporter Room 1 to beam aboard the Admiral. So it's taken you a while. You are in a system that is quite far as known space goes. So you're at the edges of the Federation at the present moment in time. And you are basically docked at Starbase, what did I say it was? 395. And the Admiral, whoever this Admiral is, who's awaiting to come aboard, has now given the indication that he is ready to transport. At which point, Captain Sobek straightens himself as he seems to be bracing himself for whatever happens. Gurkow, you are very suspicious as to why you were asked to be involved in this, but nevertheless, the Admiral beams aboard, and that's when Gurkow recognizes him immediately and feels her fists clench involuntarily. This is none other than your former captain, Captain Eric Pressman. The last time you saw Captain Pressman was at the hearing over the mutiny of the Pegasus crew, of which Captain Sobek and Lieutenant Gurkow were part. Indeed, what happened with Pressman is more than likely the reason that Gurkow quit Starfleet in the first instance and went on to take up a potential career in interstellar law. And now, here he is, the very man that Gurkow liked to stick it to after she quit Starfleet. And it seems he's been made an admiral. Now, both Sobek and Gurkow, especially Gurkow considering she has got a focus in interstellar law still, would more than likely have heard about the situation that happened on the Enterprise D, where Pressman, who was then an admiral, managed to get the Enterprise to go searching for the Pegasus, which according to official records had been destroyed, but as we later found out, was part of an illegal Starfleet experiment to create a cloaked Federation ship. Not just any old cloaked ship, a phase cloak, but of course the whole thing went disastrously wrong. The crew of the Pegasus split in two as a mutiny happened because apparently certain members of the crew of the Pegasus thought that Pressman was taking dangerous liberties with this potentially very, very dangerous piece of technology. And then, of course, during that period of mutiny, the unfortunate actually came about, and the experimental cloak malfunctioned. Some people, including Sobek and Gurkow, were able to get off the ship by staying at Pressman's side during the mutiny, and the rest were left behind to perish on the Pegasus. So, seeing Admiral Pressman, here on the transporter pad brings back a lot of memories, none of them good. Admiral Pressman, meanwhile, just gets off of the transporter pad moves over to Sobek and shakes his hand. Sobek, so glad you could have me here. And Captain as well. Congratulations. I always said you were destined for great things. Gurkow, of course, who is very familiar with Captain Sobek, can see that he is furiously clenching his jaw muscles, which is a sign that he himself is going through some very intense emotions, but he's trying to keep his Vulcan cool. Thank you, Admiral, is all the captain manages to say. Admiral Pressman continues on as he looks about himself. Well, you know, I heard about your accomplishments with the Intrepid class, and it's one thing to see the blueprints, it's another to be actually here on the ship. It's an amazing vessel you have here. Congratulations. I knew you had great things in you. And Neshlal, how may I say, it is a great pleasure to see you back in a Starfleet uniform. I always said that when you quit Starfleet, we lost one of our most keen scientific minds and one of our better officers. It's good to see you back in the saddle.
Thank you, Admiral, as I bare my teeth in an attempt to smile.
So we're talking the Arnold Schwarzenegger Terminator 2 levels of trying to force a smile up on your face kind of thing.
Exactly.
Right. Well, I suppose we should get on with things, yes? At which point Captain Sobek realizes he's still holding onto Pressman's hand and lets it go. Do you not want to be escorted to your quarters, First Admiral? Oh, no, says Pressman. I think the sooner I give you the orders you're to be given, the sooner I can get off your ship and let you get on with the mission. So, why don't you show me to the conference room? Indeed. Lieutenant Garrow will escort you to the deck where our conference room is located. We will be there momentarily. Good, says Pressman as he disappears off, and Garrow goes, "This way, Admiral, please." As they both disappear. Captain Sobek stands there, standing very still, clenching and unclenching his jaw. This was unexpected, to say the least. How do you want to handle this?
Captain, I will follow your lead.
Very well. In that case, we will hear the Admiral's orders out. But I will, as ever, be relying on you to remain our moral compass in whatever it is he intends. When I heard he had been court-martialed for what had happened on the Pegasus and attempting to retrieve it, I was under the impression that he would not be staying in Starfleet. It appears I was vastly wrong. Perhaps we should proceed to the conference room. And so, we proceed to Deck 1. So, the rest of the crew who are on Deck 1 will see Admiral Pressman appear, have a quick, escorted by Garrow, of course. We'll have a quick look around the bridge and go, wow, this thing really is a marvelous piece of engineering. Which way to the conference room? Excellent. And he goes off. At which point, Captain Sobek and Lieutenant Gurkow eventually appear as well. And the captain basically says, all senior officers report to the conference room. So, technically, Bonnet will not be involved in this because she is a junior officer, but Liz can pretty much take charge of Zhang at this particular briefing. So, let's have all senior bridge crew proceed into the conference room, please. Whoops. I accidentally started moving Zhang as well, so I have inadvertently created a duplicate. Which I cannot deselect. Interesting. Hang on.
Transporter accident.
Yeah, really. I cannot deselect. That has created a glitch. I'm going to need to reload. Excuse me. in the meantime, get yourselves senior officers into the conference room. Somebody can feel free to move Garrow as well, pretty please. Whilst I load back in here. There we go, that's better.
I'm going to make Sop dance on the table.
Well, he's a doctor of many talents, so Ensign Akos, of course, has to take up the tactical station for now, as does Aversion. Bringing Councillor Sfax? Yeah, why not? Councillor Sfax is part of the senior crew, she can come in. Admiral Pressman is standing at the far end of the conference table near to one of the display screens on the wall. And he has a datapad with him that he actually beamed on board with. So he is currently holding that to his chest. And as he's talking during this initial briefing, he will be occasionally patting it in his hand and basically holding it and swinging it around as he talks. Alright, well, I'll give you the short version. Starfleet is not doing terribly well at this present moment in time against the Klingons. So, the Admiralty is looking for any and every advantage we can employ in order to try and up our game against the Klingons. We had, of course, never really thought of the possibility of having to take on the Klingon Empire ever again in a military operation. For the most part, it should have been a clear-cut deal. Starfleet has some of the best, most sophisticated ships. The Klingons have been using more or less the same ships and technology for a good many years now, so we should outclass them. But the Klingons are very determined, and at the moment are not only holding their own, they're also pushing Starfleet back. This has given the Admiralty cause for concern, and so they have greenlit a number of individuals like myself to start looking into any and all means we can use at trying to create an advantage, any advantage we can try and get over the Klingons. Certain individuals, such as myself, who have links to Starfleet intelligence, have started looking into old archived R&D projects to see if we can't bring back some of these old, maybe even forgotten projects and see if any of them hold mustard. And I came across something in the historical records that I think might give us an edge if we can create it, if we can get it to work. This is where these orders come in. Admiral Pressman puts down the pad, taps a couple of buttons and loads some information from his pad into the computer system, the computer display system on the conference room table, and that is echoed in the display that comes up behind him. The display seems to show some kind of containment tube of sorts with a number of bits of strange technology, unfamiliar technology about the place. This is a piece of technology that was around during the first Federation Klingon War, back during the late 2200s, the late 2100s, the early 2200s. Of course, that confrontation kicked off at the Battle of the Binary Stars, and we, of course, had our first major dealing with the Klingons in a major militaristic sense. So it's kind of fitting that the project I found concerns that particular time that we found ourselves in. I'd like to introduce you to the Displacement Activated Spore Hub drive. It was a rather unique piece of propulsion technology that had been developed by a number of scientists who were later seconded into Starfleet in order to try and develop this propulsion technology for use on Starfleet ships. The technology, simply put, allowed the ship it was placed upon to enter into a subspace realm that was pretty much entirely taken up by a fungal life form. A fungal life form that somehow had the ability to pierce the veil between different subspace realms, and therefore had its root system spread out not only through its own realm in subspace, but others too, including our own. The scientists who were part of this project would posit that if a ship were to somehow enter into this network of roots spread throughout space, you could enter into the mycelial network in one place in our subspace realm and exit out in an entirely different point in space. Due to the fact that the mycelial realm, as it was called, is made up of organic but also energy, organic matter and energy, the ship would be basically traveling at faster than light speeds of an order of magnitude beyond what our warp engines are currently capable of. We would essentially be using the mycelial realm as a sort of almost a transporter system, dematerializing the ship in from one place and rematerializing it in another, in a sense. The problem was guidance. Those responsible for the project were able to successfully have the ship do what they called jumps into the mycelial realm and out again. The problem was that they needed a way of navigating over large distances, which was the majority of their problems, but they solved it by finding this creature, at which point Pressman taps in some new commands and brings up a very large tardigrade lifeform. Tardigrades are microscopic, even, well, like I said, microscopic lifeforms that are familiar to Starfleet science. We had just never encountered them in a macroscopic form before, until some of the scientists of the Spore Hub drive managed to locate one of these creatures, and they found that this specific genus of creature was able to interact with the mycelial realm and thus was more familiar with it, and therefore made for an organic navigation system that could be used to more accurately project the ship over greater distances. Now, the project was shut down when the starship that was using this prototype drive, the USS Discovery, was unfortunately lost with all hands in an accident. As such, the whole Spore Hub drive project was shelved and deemed too dangerous for use. But I believe, with our current knowledge of technology, and especially with the brilliant minds we have here assembled in this room, I think we can succeed where they failed. We have access to technology and computing power now well beyond what they had back then. So I think we have a chance with making our own Spore Hub drive and getting it to actually work. The only problem is we need navigators. That means we need these creatures, the tardigrades. We need to know how it is that they're able to actually interact with the mycelial realm and whether or not we can duplicate that interaction in a fashion that allows us to navigate the mycelial network, as it's called, in order to project the ship from one place to another safely. This becomes your mission. Now, the data I'm going to be handing out has been largely redacted because the information on the Discovery and its Displacement Activated Spore Hub drive has been classified at the highest levels. But, having some leeway with Starfleet intelligence and a good many connections within the Admiralty myself, I have managed to leverage all the information we have currently on the tardigrades and the information on the Displacement Activated Spore Hub drive which is relevant to finding these creatures is now available to you. All other information regarding the Displacement Activated Spore Hub drive will remain classified for the time being. Alright, so now we get into the exacts of what it is we're asking you to do. This mission will see you travel to the outer edges of Federation space, where you will dock with Starbase 47, which is just outside the Titan's Rift, near the Talon system. There, you will receive coordinates in a secure comm package that will take you to an area of space known as the Midnight Cloud. This is a highly dangerous and unstable dark matter nebula, which Starfleet science believes could be a viable location to search for tardigrades in order to examine them and try and find out how it is they're able to navigate the mycelial network so readily. That is your mission, and we expect you to execute it to the best of your abilities. So, with that in mind, questions? Do you have any questions?
What do we know of the sentience of these tardigrades? What do we know of the sentience of these tardigrades? Are they like their microscopic forms and almost non-sentient?
That is unclear, and will be part of the investigation process that you will have to undergo. Naturally, Starfleet and the Federation cannot condone experiments and tests on a living sentient creature without its consent. But of course, certain modifications of the rules can be made, especially in a wartime setting as this. So there will be some latitude allowed. Discovering the level of sentience these creatures have will be part and parcel of one of the exploration mission we are sending you on. Any further questions? Well then.
Is it alright to have? Is it okay to have what specs of for this drive is, please?
We will keep those classified for the time being. All you need to know is that we need tardigrades to be found, and in a manner that allows us to successfully navigate the Mycellial Realm.
When it comes to examining and possibly taking samples, and assuming that they're not sentient, maybe even retrieving a tardigrade, what containment protocols or containment options do we have for such a thing?
I will rely on you to make your best possible analyses of what containment methods you deem necessary and applicable. Needless to say, however, that if you are able to capture a sample and you deem it viable for return in order to be investigated more fully, then I would suggest whatever protocols are necessary to ensure the sample's survival.
That would be made easier if we had the schematics and the technology examples from the USS Discovery.
Well, you have everything to do with tardigrades that the Discovery was able to catalog and that we have access to. Any and all information relating to the actual Displacement Activated Spore Hub drive will be kept under wraps for now, but any and all information on the tardigrades is made available to you.
Okay.
Very good. In that case, if there are any more questions... Alright then. Then I will bid you all good sailing and good fortune. Captain, thank you for allowing me on your ship. I will be disembarking now, and I will expect to hear of your rendezvous with Starbase 47 within the next couple of days. Thank you, everybody. May I remind you that this mission is classified for the moment. So any and all logs you create in regards to this mission will have to be reviewed by myself before they are submitted to Starfleet entire. Is that clear? Very good.
Understood.
Permission to disembark, Captain. Permission granted, Admiral. At which point Pressman leaves.
Captain,
Yes, Lieutenant.
is it all right to contact somebody from R&D, please?
What did you have in mind?
I just want to see if I can get this, if they know anything about this drive. Not the specs, but if they know anything about it.
Seeing as we have very little in the way of information, thanks to most of it being classified, it could be seen as a breach of protocol if we go around the Admiral's back in order to achieve any more information than he was willing to impart. However, and Sobek looks over at Gurkow at this, seeing as the Admiral has been less than truthful with us in the past, I would possibly recommend this course of action, just to ensure that he isn't withholding something that could be vital to the well-being and safety of this crew.
I have another request, Captain.
Of course.
Is it okay to have a look at all of this information in my quarters? I may need to hook up myself just to do some diagnostic work. And she winks.
Diagnostic work, I see. That would be acceptable. In that
Thank
case,
you, sir.
if there is to be any details shared on this diagnostic information, then perhaps it should be kept in a security sense away from myself. Therefore, I will not have to perjure myself if asked a direct question.
Yes, sir.
Very well. Commander Lian Zhang, as soon as you get back to the bridge, I would like you to ask for Helm to plot in a course for Starbase 47. We are to be proceeding there as soon as possible, therefore high warp is now authorized. As for
Permission to speak.
Of course, Lieutenant.
Privately, Captain.
Privately. Very good. If there is no more questions from the floor, then those who wish to should proceed back to their duty stations, and we should proceed to Starbase 47.
Sir, it's alright to go back to my personal cabin.
Very well, Lieutenant. But then proceed directly from there to engineering once you have something.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. Alright then. So the Councillor exits. Dr. Sott. Now, I imagine Dr. Sott, being the medical officer, would have probably his own kind of misgivings about making sure these animals, these tardigrades, aren't being mistreated in any way. We'll see what happens with that once, if Chris manages to return.
He's joining shortly, he will be.
So you can probably just give him a quick rundown on the situation then.
Mm-hmm.
Let's put Garrow back at the station over there. In the meantime, what was it that Gurkha wanted to talk to the captain about?
Captain, I don't trust that man as far as Dr. Sock can throw him.
I would posit, Lieutenant, that a Vulcan could probably hurl that man farther than Dr. Sott.
If permission to check into his story and his background, and background since the incidents and what brings him here.
That would be useful information to have. I will advise caution, however. If we are going to be investigating Admiral Pressman, if he does indeed have the level of clearance and the number of contacts that he suggests he does have, then it's entirely possible that they might monitor such attempts as gaining access to his records.
It's okay. I have operative
I see.
from my double days.
In that case, proceed with caution, Lieutenant, but do let me know what it is you discover.
Hello.
Hello!
All right.
Yep. Right, who wants to give Chris the very brief summary of what mission we've been given?
Basically, we've had another admiral who, stinks to high heaven of corruption. He's given us a mission.
Oh.
I think we may need a Dr. Sott, as the mission has to do with containing creatures.
Gotcha. So when Gurkha got that sick burn about not being able to throw very far, that was in reference to the Admiral, I take it. I just about overheard that as I came down.
Yes.
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 Yep, apparently there's another admiral we need to either demote or discredit.
Cool.
So,
We've got this, guys.
Right, so just for Chris's amusement, because I know he's a pretty big Star Trek fan, the Admiral in question is Admiral Pressman, who is the man in charge of the Pegasus project.
Oh, that fella. Yeah, he's up to no good, is he?
And the mission he has given you is to get hold of and/or analyze tardigrades.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's bringing back the Discovery Spore Hub drive.
Bit of a meta question. Is this like before the Pegasus episode?
No, this is well after. So this is after he was found guilty of trying to...
We already know he's a bit dodge.
Yeah. So the fact that he's still in Starfleet and still an admiral, even after getting prosecuted for the whole Pegasus thing,
is a testament to the reformation that he must have gone through. He's a reformed man.
Indeed. Indeed.
I'd like to scan Dr. Flesk, please.
If he's a reformed man, Tavish is a normal engineer.
And I'm
just this person.
And Hopkins is still in Starfleet.
Right, we've set the baseline here. That's what we're living up to. Gotcha. Right. Okay, so as has been noted, you have been given permission to exceed maximum warp, and you are heading to the very, very edge of Federation space. Now, I am going to give you a map, just so you can appreciate how far you are going. If I could just find my Star Trek Galaxy map. Where is it? Where did I put it? Titan's Rift. There we go. So if I give you this, I'm giving you the link in Discord right now. The area of space you are looking for is in the bottom left. There is a big old red smudge in the bottom left that's called Titan's Rift. Everybody found it?
Yes.
Yes.
To the
Oh well,
right,
I found the map.
to the right of Titan's Rift, there is a teeny tiny little notation saying Starbase 47 Vanguard. That's where you are going. So you are way, 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 way.
Oh, we're travelling quite far then.
Yes, very, very. Hence why you have been given permission to exceed regular warp limitations. So, with that in mind, it takes a fairly long time to get to Starbase 47. And when you get there, you were expecting basically to have the chance to just sit, refuel a little bit, and get everybody ready before you do actually go off to find the Midnight Cloud. Now, the good news there is that the Midnight Cloud is a dark matter nebula, a very dangerous one. But this crew has had recent experience with navigating through dark matter nebulae. So, you think that maybe might be a reason why Pressman chose you guys for this mission? Or maybe it's because he wanted to maybe... I don't know. Well, who knows? Who knows? The fact that he has history with Sobek and Gurkow. Nevertheless, it gives you time. Now, certain folks were going to try and access data and look up stuff. So we'll start with Tavish. Tavish, basically, you were going to try breaking into the secure information, weren't you?
Yes, and I was also going to contact my father at Starfleet R&D. Yeah.
Okay.
Always good to have a bit of family in
No, that's good.
good places.
Utilizing your contacts. So, in that regard, I will allow you to... basically, what question are you posing Tavish's father?
Just so it's not... We're both not completely compromised, because I am asking for classified information here. I'm just going to ask if he's heard of the project and how dangerous it is.
Okay. The best... I mean, it takes a moment for Tavish's dad to access records and try and bring it up. And the best he can manage is that there is obviously there's a security authentication shield that prevents him from getting too much information. It basically tells him that, you know, this information is classified, you can proceed no further. So the only information he's able to find is that in about, what was it, 2270, I think? I will have to make sure that's accurate, but I'll do that later. That the Discovery crew were last known to be in open conflict with an AI. No, that's wrong. That's classified. The last thing they were known as, they did disappear briefly during the first Klingon Federation war, and it was assumed they were lost with all hands. Another ship bearing the name Discovery was later active for a short while after the end of the conflict with the official conflict with the Klingons at that point. Whether or not that's the same Spore Hub Discovery, or if it was just another ship taking the same name, is unclear. But in all cases, the information that can be found on the Discovery that was active during the First Federation Klingon War states that they had an experimental propulsion drive, which unfortunately malfunctioned and resulted in the loss of all hands. As a result, Starfleet decided that in order to make sure that such a dangerous technology was not used again, that it would be classified and basically put into a storage box and put out of the way. That's all the information Mr. Tavish, Dr. Tavish, pardon me, can discover.
Yeah, Tavish will tell him that. He loves him, that he's awesome, that his granddaughter's doing fantastic on her new starbase, and the usual,
Yeah, the usual.
family, yeah,
Yeah.
talking about, hey, Dad, I did this with a phaser rifle.
Safely, right?
Yeah, definitely.
I'd like to say I believe you, but just something in your tone suggests otherwise.
Maybe.
In any case, so that's the message to R&D. What was the other thing? Before we go into the breaking into a system, let's go over and find out how well Gurkow did with breaking into somebody's system. I would imagine if you want to be careful about looking up Admiral Pressman, you're going to want somebody who's good with encryption, decryption. So I would highly recommend Ensign Ravalon, your communications officer, who has got a focus in encryption, decryption.
It's been a while since we used him.
Yes,
Yeah.
indeed. So, this is probably going to be... You're digging into data. This is going to be control and science for both Ravalon and Gurkow, and whoever wants to help Gurkow. And Ravalon.
With Tavish's super bonus on computers to help decrypt, would that be?
Well, Tavish is kind of busy at the moment in her quarters.
I can assist with parent figure, just on standby.
Yeah, nothing much in the
there's no focus.
List that'll help there, so it's just going to be control and science. Spooky doos. So yes, can I have Chris? Since you've just arrived, you can be Ravalon.
Sure thing.
If you're able to access this character sheet, we want control
I
and
can.
science with a focus 1 dice.
No worries.
Could it be better?
Outstanding start.
Oh my god.
Alright then, down to Gurkow.
Alright. I'm gonna use my God focus.
Well, encryption is based on
yes,
probability.
I suppose so, because there's a high probability that Starfleet intelligence are going to be monitoring certain wavelengths of subspace communications and will therefore be employing certain encryption-decryption methods to listen in, so you've got a good old guess as to what you can use your ability to try and circumvent all of that.
Here I go.
All
Damn.
right. Lots of high rolls going on here today.
It all went into Flask's science experiment.
It really did. It really did.
Yeah.
Kind of peaked at that point, and it's kind of been plateaued ever since. Alright, fine. That's still 2 successes, which will be pretty much on the money of what I wanted you to get into. Okay. You are able to access Pressman's Starfleet record easily enough. But the reason you've decrypted it is just to make sure that the access doesn't trace back to you. Because any idiot could see that after he just gave you a mission and then you start looking into him, he'd probably figure things out. So for the moment you've got limited access to try and poke about and see if there's anything that stands out. You find you do linger just a little bit on the notation that he was the captain of the USS Pegasus. But then you find further postings after the Pegasus, where he was a captain of another vessel. He then quickly got roped into Starfleet intelligence, which was how he became an admiral. He then has a long period of working with Starfleet intelligence before the mission on the Enterprise D, where he had the Enterprise try and recover the illegal phased cloak of the Pegasus, and it then notes that he was put before a tribunal in order MacLeod to answer for this. But interestingly enough, the tribunal notes from that court martial, essentially, are all sealed by order of Starfleet intelligence. And it seems that Pressman pretty much disappears from anywhere, but does re-emerge about 2 years later, and he's still an admiral. There's no indication of what happened there, but you can probably make a guess. And he has remained working as a liaison to Starfleet intelligence ever since. So that's all the information you're able to get on Pressman. Now, back to Tavish, who's trying to break into sealed records.
Not just Tavish.
Not just Tavish. Okay. I mean, you can use the Combs computer to try and assist, since you're plugging yourself in.
Yeah, well, it's not the only computer I'm asking to give me a hand.
We will take it into account that you do have a certain AI assisting.
Yes, that is why I am plugging myself into the computer, so Nyla can
assist in her own way.
Yes.
So what we'll do then, we represent Nylil as basically a trait that you can use, which means that I can lower the difficulty down by 1. This is still difficulty 3, though.
Oof. I've got to roll.
Yeah, we don't have any momentum for you either.
Nope.
But you do have.
I've got to roll.
He doesn't have to
I do.
And
so let's use determination.
So this is a good opportunity
then,
to note that you are using which
I
value
do not know. I can't see at the moment.
It's going to either be free thinker or where there's a will, there's a way.
Where there's a will, there's a way. I honestly feel like that's the
value to use. So yeah, as I've noted now, to make a change in preparation for when we switch over to 2nd edition, I would like Dave, if you could make a note that you have used that value for this episode, please.
Okay.
So you can make it as long or as short. You mean, if you want to, when you make these log entries, folks can feel free to write their own personal logs if they want to. It's entirely up to you how long or short you want to make them.
What does his Cochrane Medal of Excellence do for his roles?
Cochrane Medal of Excellence. Basically, you get a single focus once per mission when you spend a point of determination on a task that involves that focus, like, ooh, I don't know, this one. You receive 2 of the benefits for a point of determination instead of 1.
Ooh.
Like, for instance, 4 successes?
Yeah,
Okay.
alright.
There we go.
Oh, we'll put that in there.
So you don't need the
Actually,
ship's computer.
You might as well still use the ship's computer
Generate
as well.
some excess momentum, yeah, that's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
I was going to say, also, can I use my other one, which doubles my focus range?
Oof, if you want to go whole hog in this one, alright.
Yeah. I want to completely bust.
Yeah, you want to bust this down, okay. Reason and engineering, we want the ship to assist as well, so Chris, if you could be the ship.
So, focus, determination.
Yeah, focus and determination. For the ship, can I have computers and engineering, please?
Yep, sorry, just found in the combs. Here we are.
That's
right,
fine.
computers.
Ooh.
That might have been me knocking. The dice landed literally right on top of the computers.
That's fine. I haven't seen anything
Computers
yet.
and engineering. That was an accident. Right. Roll dice. There we are.
Ooh, much better. Much better. Right. So, 4 successes, 2 of those come from that one, but because you doubled the determination thing, that's actually 7 successes in total. I said 3, that's 4 over and above what you needed, so that's 4 momentum into the pool. Ooh.
There you go, people.
Thanks, David.
It's alright.
So one
That was
very... Go on, sorry, Mark.
I was going to say that's an exceptional spend of determination. I'm going to get one of them medals.
Yeah, well, you know, if you want to do something to advance the cause of science, then consider it. Okay, so you have now successfully overridden the security lockout for the information, all the information on the Displacement Activated Spore Hub drive. Is there anything particular that you are looking for in it?
I don't think this all the way through. What am I looking for?
Does his AI just get a copy of everything? Because it will remember.
That's a question, isn't it?
Yeah, actually, yeah. You know what? I'm just going to copy the information.
Assuming,
won't be
because
Nihil hasn't already done that.
Yeah.
Nihil can have it, and it's not going to leave a trace on the computer systems. It'll all be in Tavish's head.
So load the information entirely into your neural interface ports so that the USS Combs computer doesn't have any of this information, so it can't be proved that. Okay, yeah, I get that. That's pretty smart, actually.
Yeah.
So unless you give them a reason to open up Tavish's head. Okay. Alright.
Yeah.
Wow, espionage. Who knew?
If I'm going to do this, well, I'm doing this. So, once I've downloaded the information, Nihil's downloaded the information into my head. I'm gonna see if I'm gonna go to the captain and ask if I can have a meeting with certain bridge officers.
Okay. Who are you after specifically?
I want Flesk, I want Gurkha, and I want Dr. Stop.
Okay. And you can either have them go to the conference room, or you can just do it right here like this. Assume they just slip into a room somewhere.
We'll do it in the conference room. You know, nothing gets recorded in there, does it?
Well, you can tell the computer not to record anything that goes on in there, so, you know.
Yeah.
Instigate security mode kind of thing.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do.
Okay. So you wanted Gurkha... Tavish, of course. You wanted the dock. You wanted Flesk.
Accessing library computer data.
Right. Alright then, what were you going to talk about?
Alright, so basically, Tavish is going to go. I'm not going to talk for a little bit. I'm going to let somebody else talk. They have the schematics for the engine. I want to make sure that you guys know about it, that it's not put onto any device at the moment. I want, after Nihil has given you the specifications for this thing, I will take back over and we will discuss what, if we think this is, first of all, safe, second of all, safe for whatever the creature we're taking in, and what is going to happen to this creature.
Oh, I pinged back.
Yes. Liz is moving, folks, so...
Whee! So we're having this meeting without the captain.
Yes.
Well,
The captain told me not to.
Yeah, that might not be a
Oh,
bad
yeah, yeah.
idea because Sobek can't lie and Vulcans can't lie. So.
Yeah. Trevor just goes, yes, it's fine.
All right. What information did you want to know about this stuff specifically?
I think 3 of the things I've given, said. I don't know if the other 3 officers have any other questions about this.
May I suggest maybe bringing in at least Lieutenant Commander Lian Zhang or somebody else, because at the moment Liz is getting bored and is rearranging
Yes.
the script.
Yes. Okay, let's get Lian Zhang in. I do have her as I've got favour with her, so we're friendly. So yeah, get her in.
Plus, first officer.
I'll tell her she's allowed in. Yeah, if she keeps quiet, yeah, then I'll allow her to do another mystery for us on the holodeck again.
Oh yeah, all's forgiven.
Yeah, all's forgiven. You can do another holodeck mystery.
There you go. There's the cone of silence.
Yes.
All right, so we bring Zhang in as well.
So I'll say exactly the same thing as well. To Liang Zhang, and say if she wants to, if she's got any inputs,
So again, was there any information specifically that you guys wanted to know about Displacement Activated Spore Hub drive?
Yeah, how does it actually interface with the tardigrade?
Okay, so I'm assuming, of course, here that folks have actually watched Star Trek Discovery.
Oh yeah, no, I'm trying not to metagame.
Yeah, so
I'm assuming I don't know how that works.
Actually, I've never seen this.
I've seen like 2 episodes and I got bored.
okay, cool. 2 episodes mean you probably didn't even see the tardigrade. So okay, right, cool. Okay, how does the tardigrade interface? Well, according to the information you found, there is kind of like a containment tube, I suppose you could call it, that is reserved for the navigator, which is where the navigator gets actually physically plugged into the navigation system. So the tardigrade was basically injected with what I can only imagine is some kind of interface by basically stabbing it with long sticky poles in order to get a physical interface between the tardigrade and the tardigrade's biology and the navigational system. So back when on the Discovery, for a tardigrade to interface, it had to be kept in a contained area and then basically against its will plugged into this system by getting stabbed by a pair of interface ports. There is a note as well that this procedure was apparently so uncomfortable, if not dangerous to the tardigrade, that eventually the creature fell into a coma, a self-induced coma, in order to not have to go through it anymore, at which point the Discovery crew basically sent it home because they could no longer condone mistreatment of such an animal.
So do we have the understanding of how they continue to use the Mycellial network?
Because
So we know
Tavish successfully broke into the system, you now have the additional bits of information which state that the project lead on Discovery, Amanda Stamets, he did something very illegal, and he genetically engineered his DNA so that it had shreds of tardigrade DNA in it, so that he could physically interface with the Spore Hub's navigational system, rather than have the creature integrate against his will.
Oh, if only we knew someone who's prone to illegal genetic modification.
Yeah. Hey, do you think it would be a bad idea if we contacted someone in the Klingon?
I think it would be a
Klingon
terrible
Empire.
idea.
You could try, but whether or not you succeed would be another matter entirely. Plus, contacting someone on the other side would take one of two routes. One, through diplomatic channels, which would take an age and a half, and two, through what they call back channels, which could be more rapid, but of course you have to use unofficial means of getting the word out and in. So,
Are we still speaking to Nilo at this point?
Nilo will give you any tech specs that you need to know, yes.
What about analysis on the tech specs in terms of what would be a suitable candidate for such a procedure? Ignoring the legality of it, what would be an ideal candidate in terms of species, temperament?
Well, this is the thing. Apparently the main problem with piloting a displacement activated spore hub drive was the fact that in order to get from point A to point B, it's not like you in like this subspace realm where the laws of physics are what you expect. In order to navigate from point A to point B, you chart a course. But if there are any obstructions or obstacles in your way, you've got to find a way of navigating around them to get from point A to point B. Therefore, it's very much a spatial thing. There's a distance involved, and there's also, navigating around any hazards or obstacles and stuff like that. So it's fairly straightforward. When it comes to navigating the Mycellial Realm, it's another matter entirely, because apparently the roots of this mushroom system are so extensive throughout subspace. Travel from point A to point B is more about probability than it is about physical distance. So the further out you go, the further you're trying to get to. If the further point B is from point A, the more complicated the more the probability chances start going wildly out of your favor, essentially.
So that isolates two potential candidates.
Yes, it
Someone
does,
with
doesn't it?
a godlike ability with probability, but also someone with a built-in AI.
Someone with a built-in computer interface. Yes. That is an interesting thought. However, your mission has been given to try and locate a potential place where you can find tardigrades and therefore study them to see how they interact with the Mycellial Realm and whether or not that interaction can be duplicated in a way that does not need an actual tardigrade creature.
Which we
if
might
possible.
be able to, which we still might be able to achieve, because we still go on the mission, we still search out samples, and we've got an idea of where to lead our research, which is down the artificially made navigator interface.
Now, for the moment, as far as Pressman's orders to yourselves go, you have reached Starbase 47 and have been given a coded set of coordinates that will lead you to a dark matter nebula known as the Midnight Cloud. Because dark matter nebulae are formed usually by rifts in subspace, that's why Starfleet Science thinks that it's a good chance you could find tardigrades there, because the mycelial network works by breaching subspace at various points.
So My idea and Flesk's idea would be we would go into the space, observe the tardigrades, try and understand what they're doing, how they interact, and get a sample, not an actual tardigrade. We get a sample of either a dead one or bits of one, break of it, rather than take a whole one. And we can use that to base it on, this is how we can modify something willing to interface, and how we'd want to explore that as a research prospect. So we're not using the stuff in Nilel's head directly, it's just informed us on how we want to solve the way in which we make it work. That's Lesk's idea, and that's what he's going to put to the crew. Put to the crew in the secret room, in the Cone of Silence.
Now, I will add a little note here, because I keep intimating that, you know, Gurkow, the reason Gurkow quit Starfleet was Pressman. So I would like to venture the note in Gurkow's head here that that Flesk's assumption is working from whether or not Pressman lets you guys in on the project after you've fulfilled your part, which is finding and examining tardigrades. With Pressman, you guys might not necessarily have any further part to play after you've found and examined tardigrades.
Well, not with his project. We might have a new science project.
Ooh, interesting. Interesting. Flesk is thinking of making their own one, I see. Even though the original has been made basically classified.
Yeah. If only we had a copy of all the schematics.
Cunning. Right, does anybody else have any thoughts in that regard? And I'm including Liz, any thoughts you might want to voice through Lian Zhang, or questions you might want to voice through Lian Zhang. Same goes for Sot. Same goes for Tavish and Gurkow. Points you want to bring up, any problems you can foresee, any concerns or questions? Okay.
Sorry, just want to say a reminder to the crew. We'll take the Miles O'Brien approach. Everything takes longer than it actually does when reporting results.
Okay.
The Scotty thing. Always multiple.
Oh yeah.
It's both Brian and Scotty. Yeah.
I think Zhang would probably be like, man, if only Hopkins was still here, she would enjoy this.
You'll just have to tell her when she comes back.
Tavish will say, "I don't want to harm these creatures. If we can't, well, if we can.
Yep.
Sorry. And that we should all be reminded the last time we were in one of these nebulas. Safety of the crew is paramount to this mission succeeding."
Yes, indeed. Okay. Very good, very good, very good. Okay, so unless there's anything else you guys want to do.
No, Flesk is going to agree with Tavish that it's we're going to go in and observe. That's the priority, and get out safely. If we can get a sample, Flesk would prefer it's an inert sample. He doesn't want to capture one of these things.
Beans. Okay.
I actually would like to hear Dr. Sott's opinion on this at all.
I mean, I'm just in the middle of getting caught up. I think, wouldn't really trust the guy as far as I can throw him, as Connie said earlier, or as Gurkha said earlier. So whatever we do, just, proceed with caution.
Okay.
Alrighty. Okay, so if folks proceed back to their... Oh yeah, we remembered something.
Yes, I remembered something. I'm also going to tell them that I've spoken to someone in R&D. I'm not going to tell them who, but I've spoken to someone in Starfleet R&D and give them the basically what Tavish's father told her.
It was shut down because it was too dangerous.
Yeah, and whatever information he actually gave to them as well.
Okay. Alright then. Everybody good with all that information?
Yeah,
proceed.
Blesk
Yep.
doesn't know what to think of this Admiral, but he trusts Gurkhal's mistrust. But he also likes the
Yes.
idea of the research opportunity.
Ah,
So that's where his mind is.
I see. Okay, good. Right, if folks can proceed back to their stations then, we'll assume the rest of the mission has gone. So most of the time taken to get to Starbase 47 was taken up with hacking into the various bits of data and discussing the information that was discovered. And eventually you are given the coordinates for the Midnight Cloud. That's where we find ourselves. So I'm just going to briefly bring us here.
Can I say one more thing before we get? Oh, it's black.
Black. Okay.
Oh yeah, it's
Yeah.
One more thing, go on.
The schematics, unless Tavish wants Nylil to put it in a make it secure, so no one, if somebody goes into her brain and into her, that no one can find it, and that the only time she's allowed to bring it back up is if Tavish gives her a password.
Acknowledged.
Okay, cool. In that case, let's just make sure folks can see this.
Yep. Well, I can.
Yes.
Alright, so you eventually come to a stop, and ahead of you, on the view screen, a bewildering mass of black matter swirls on the view screen, blotting out the stars beyond. You find your sensors can't penetrate the writhing dark matter of the Midnight Cloud. All the ship's instruments report an expansive stretch of null space, a vast nothingness big enough to hide untold dangers. It's no wonder Starfleet determined years ago that this nebula was too hazardous for crewed vessels to chart. So,
Do we want to send a probe in first?
well, that's a question.
Yeah, I'll ask the crew, should we probe it before we fly into that thing?
I mean, let's get some momentum worth the scan, shall we?
That's a good point. We've always got
And then
points we can build up.
Even if we see nothing, then we can send a probe.
Should we just ask the Admiral point blank if there are any sort of surprise Romulans waiting around this time?
You could if he was still on the ship, but he's not.
Alas. Hail him!
Admiral Pressman, bearing in mind the amount of distance you are away from the Federation at the moment, you know, the comm relays are going to take some time to get any message back to. Nevertheless, firing a probe, that's easily enough. So you've got this writhing black mass ahead of you. I'll get this back to deck 1 now as...
I think Gurkhal wanted a scan first.
Yes. So that's going to be control and science assisted by the ship's sensors and science. So once again, Chris, can I get you to I keep saying Navis. I'm going to lose a threat for that. It's just stupid of me. The combs. Can you be the combs for me, please? There.
Can I get an assist from Dufresne as well?
Sure. Absolutely, yes. That would make sense.
Right, what am I doing?
Can you give me sensors and science from the codes, please? And Liz, can I get you to be Beatrice Dufresne, please, giving us a control and science assist with stellar sensors for stellar phenomena. Either works. Ooh, now that's where the good rolls have gone. Okay. All the momentum you could possibly need. Okay, so firing off a probe and using sensors as well. The scans cannot penetrate the nebula, but it does detect residual mycelial signatures in the surrounding space, which you were able to get from the information that you obtained from the records, which confirms the finding of previous survey missions that something from the mycelial network may well reside within the nebula. So, dark matter. So the thing here is that dark matter is exceedingly difficult to observe and measure. So most shipboard sensors can't detect dark matter, no matter how much of it may be present at a given location. With that number of successes that you just generated, you reckon that your best means of trying to navigate and not impact dark matter pockets is if you were able to find out where those concealed hazards are lying by saturating the dark matter with more measurable substances. One such measurable substance would be metrion particles, which can help for limited intervals. So if you can reconfigure your ship to essentially release metrion particles about the ship, they can act as almost like a sonar to give you an idea of dense pockets of dark matter near the ship, so that your helm officer can successfully navigate through them.
Does that mean we can also adjust the shields to be better protected whilst in the dark matter?
Potentially, yes. Now, entering into the dark matter nebula will see me introduce a dark matter interference trait, which will normally disable a vessel's external sensors and flight control. So you will have to basically install the Metrion emitter in order to be able to actually navigate the nebula. You can do that by giving me a difficulty 2 reason and science task, which can be assisted by the ship's sensors and con. So, who wants to go at creating a Metrion emitter? Probably going to have to attach it to the main deflector, because everything goes
Cool.
through the
Right.
deflector.
If that's a deflector, then I have a focus in deflector shield force field technology.
Cool. Anybody who's got anything to do with subspace mechanics, navigation, that kind of thing would be helpful here too. Like, I hasten to note, or indeed Miss Bonnet.
Might be, yeah.
So who would like to volunteer for all of this?
I wouldn't mind helping.
So, Flesk, Bonnet, anybody else want to jump in? Dufresne with stellar phenomena?
If it's reason and science, Tavish has got pretty good reason and
Tavish
science.
has got pretty good reason in science, yes. This would be something experimental, so In that case, let's have. Alright, Mark, you're going to give me Reason and Science 2 dice. Let's have Madeline Bonnet. Liz, if you could get me Reason and Science 1 dice with a focus. Bonnie, can I get you to be Tavish, giving me Reason and Science with a focus, 1 dice. And finally, Chris, if I could get you to be the Combs, giving me Sensors and Con, 1 dice.
Excuse me, sorry, yeah, by all means.
That's quite...
Oh,
Look
hello.
at that! Well
Woo,
done,
woo.
Combs.
So I do have
Go on,
technical experience. Whenever you attempt a task assisted by the ship's computer or sensors, you may roll a single dice, including the ship's.
I don't really think you don't need to re-roll the ships, so if you want, you could re-roll Tavish's 17.
Yeah.
Alright then, Connie, re-roll that 17 for Tavish, please. Even better!
Oh!
Criminy do. Alright, well, that Metreon emitter has been very, very successfully installed there, in which case, actually, you've got so many successes there. I am lowering the difficulty for navigating as a result of your very, very successful integration of a Metreon emitter.
I love my talent. That was great.
That was very useful, yeah.
I was going to say,
Go on.
I've got something similar. I think. In go down. The neural interface.
You've spent that.
As a minor
No, I haven't.
action, while you're connected, you can re-roll a d20 gain from the ship's systems. Yeah, but the ship rolled a 1, so you really don't need to roll back and re-roll that.
Yeah.
Yeah, mine is any dice.
So between the two of you, that actually makes for a very firm number of advantages there. So, whereas before you would have had to have spent momentum to create an advantage, with that many, with 2 1s and some extra successes on top, I'm saying you
And it-
need to.
Yeah, what is it? We got 7 successes.
Yeah, so that was an intense number of successes, an extremely good installation of the Metreon emitter, which means that you don't need to spend momentum to create the advantage. Okay, so you've now recalibrated the system's flight control abilities in order to use the Metreon emitter as a navigational method. So, nicely done. With all that, I suppose there's only one thing left to do, and that's to guide the ship into the Dark Matter Nebula. So, let's have our navigational officer give me control and con, assisted by Chris, the ship, giving me
Hands-on pilot.
engines and con. Oh, never mind. Hands-on pilot. Means that we negate Chris's need to do anything with the ship. Interestingly enough, as a side note, hands-on pilot in 2nd edition has changed. I don't think it does exactly this anymore. It does something a little different. I forget if it's better or worse. But I remember remarking to myself that hands-on pilot has changed. And ooh, look at that!
Legion of Honor.
She's not got Legion of Honor, but she does have determination.
Oh.
And
Oh, I can't spend
could-
mine for her.
Well, no, she's got her own, so I could suggest a true pilot trusts their instincts. So Liz, if you can remember to make a note that you spent determination to use that value in your log. Now you've gone from 0 successes to 2 successes, and the ship is also assumed to do 2 successes as well, so that's 4. Sounds really good. Really, really good. I mean, you've got a full
Okay, now-
momentum pool, I can't give you any more than you've already got, so... It's awesome navigation. Okay. So, whilst you are navigating now through the dark matter clouds, you are going to have to start searching for where the mycelial activity is located within the nebula in order to guide your efforts. So, first, we're going to need to conduct some in-depth sensor sweeps of the nebula to locate activity. So, whoever wants to can give me a control and science task assisted by the ship's sensors and science. This is difficulty 3. It's gone down now to difficulty 2 as a result of your ridiculously good. Actually, no, that was repulsion. It stays at difficulty 3. I will spend threat to make it difficulty 3.
Can I... Well, I can do it. Can I use a focus of xenobiology?
Xenobiology. Ordinarily, I would say no, but because this is a very unique organism you're looking for, and it does give off energy of its own type, I will actually allow it.
Excellent. I would also like to use... Okay, what would I like to use? I would like to use the reading, just cause we've got money to spend. I mean, momentum to spend.
Makes sense.
I'll take one down.
Okay.
And I'm happy to assist with 1 dice, just in case.
Anybody else want to get on the control and science task?
Actually, I would cancel the reading because if I'm using the reading, because it's already signed. So, yeah, just the regular rolls for me then. No talent.
Chris, I am going to want the combs to give me sensors and science, please.
Incoming transmission.
Certainly.
Thank you.
Second. Sensors and science.
Science, yes please. Okay. Interference is causing a bit of difficulty here, but whoever else helping Gurkow with the sensors and science, nominate yourselves.
I will try and help.
Okay.
Gurkow, do you want to take some momentum?
You've got 1 dice you can buy then.
I might as well do that and roll 3 then.
Yes, please. Alright then, off you go.
Oh my... Oh no!
Can I spend determination?
18, 16. 9.
Can I use the Legion of Honor to gain 2 bonus? No, it's not success. Never mind.
Yeah, you'd only gain... you haven't succeeded, so you haven't generated bonus momentum, so you can't generate excess. I'm afraid. So
Can
you
I...
still use determination to reroll, but Mark, yes, what are you going to say?
Oh yeah, I was going to say desperation breeds inspiration for my determination
Sure,
spend.
if you want to reroll your 16, and if Connie, you want to spend determination to reroll yours too.
Yeah.
Both of you remember to note in your character's logs that you have used those particular values, a value, to spend determination. Make a note of the value that you used. And, of course, re-roll those dice.
Do I re-roll all 3 or just 2?
Might as well roll all 3.
Up to you. You can leave the 9 if you want, since it was 1 success.
Oh, that's a good point.
So you can re-roll 2, because you've got a pair of 18s.
Yes.
And Mark can re-roll 1. That's
better.
Need 1 more success, so...
Good call, why?
You can
Right,
succeed
what can we do?
against.
We can't spend another determination. Oh no, I can't because I got a success.
Can we succeed at cost and then, I don't know, we would like to do another stencil scan. For fun.
Well, Well, if you succeed at cost, then you succeed, and therefore you don't need to do another sensor scan. But I am going to say, okay, we succeed at cost then. So you do manage to locate a concentration of mycelial energy, which means you've now got a good idea of which direction to go in. Unfortunately, as a result of a sensor glitch, you do collide with a concealed, a subspace rupture that had been concealed by a pocket of dark matter. This makes the ship rock. Now, your ship has got resistance of
tons.
So, luckily for you, yes. What's this? Stress. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And roll. 1, 2, 3, 4. Not many. 4, and one of them was an effect. So I'm going to make that vicious, which means I'm going to make it 5. So you lose a chunk of shields, but you will also suffer a single breach. Random system, let's see. Sensors, which is fitting. So Sensors takes a bit of a knock.
Can I do the repair team leader? But if I do a damage control task, I may spend 3 momentum to repair 1 breach.
Okay, but that means that Flask will be unavailable for the next task that is called for.
Yeah, because So what does damage control do? Does that reduce?
It allows you to basically try and repair something. Now, at the moment, the ship has suffered a slight problem now with its damage to its sensors, which means that all attacks made by the ship increase in difficulty by 1 because targeting sensors will not work properly.
Okay, yeah, I'd rather fix that if everyone's okay.
Big thing, unless you're planning on going into combat. So.
What does it mean for Tavish? Because wasn't there a
Tavish
thing?
isn't necessarily plugged into the ship at this point, I would imagine, since you've already done your thing with hijacking all that data. I wasn't told that she was missing, so...
Oh, good.
No.
So you won't be taking any brain damage from a feedback of a neural link. So, by all means,
she
daring.
She remembers what happened last.
Right, daring.
Sorry, David. What was that?
I said she remembers last time they were in a dark matter nebula.
Always remember to unplug yourself.
Yes.
So give me a daring and engineering task to do repairs, and it'll cost you 3 momentum to repair the breach.
Cool. So rolling 2 dice. What's the difficulty range, sorry?
Let's go with 1.
Cool.
It's only a minor breach.
Variant figure. I can't do variant figure. Legion of Honor.
Righty-ho. Okay, so again, it's only a minor sensor breach. A sensor operator can perform the restore action, which is a very minor action to bring sensors back online. It just means that the sensors have now got a bit of something that will need repairing when you get back to space dock or starbase. So
temptation
that's no big thing. But you've still got the lead on the mycelial energy, so that means you collided with that, and that's what happened there.
Team, I'm going to be inactive for the next thing anyway because I was busy repairing. I could spend another determination to try reroll. What are your thoughts? Because we've got a breach. I'm happy to leave it as is, or try a reroll.
What are you happy with doing?
You just said
I'd rather. I'm happy with leaving it. I'd rather try and repair it, but
If you want to try and repair it, mate, you try and repair it. You do what you think.
yeah. All right. So I'll pop that in that I've done the same thing again. Desperation breeds inspiration.
Okay, remember to make a note of it as well.
I'll do it after.
You've done it more than once. you've
Yep.
hit your values more than once in the same span of time.
There is absolutely nothing that I can use as a focus either. Damn it. Right. Manufacturing, metallurgies, no stretch, power systems, no, it's sensors, transporter replicators, no, warp field
No,
dynamics.
it's gonna go
No.
on talent alone, it seems.
Oh, go on, do something better this time.
Alright, there we
2!
go. That's
There we
fine.
go.
That's fine, but pull 3 momentum. Is it 3 momentum? Yeah, pull 3 momentum.
Yep,
out of
3. It was 1 over, so shall I pull 2?
And so the problem has been solved and the breach has been sealed. Okay, but I have just spent 2 credit because I'm going to get a little creative here. As you are nearing the build-up of mycelial energy, a sudden burst of mycelial static from somewhere deep within the cloud blasts outwards and starts to overload your shield generators. Which means that your shields start suffering from being only... some of your shield emitters start burning out. You're currently at 11, which means I'm knocking you down to 5. Everyone feel free to give me the Star Trek shake.
No. That's me giving you the Star Trek. Yeah, I can't even say it.
the Star Trek shake.
Yeah.
So your ship's maximum shield capacity is reduced by half until repairs can be made. You can either spend 2 points of momentum to overcome this and regain it, or you can try and repair it using control and engineering assisted by the ship's structure and engineering. Which would you rather? Momentum spend or get somebody to actually dedicate their time to repairing it?
Do you want Tavish to dedicate her time to repairing it?
Could be useful.
Yeah, I think that might be.
Okay, let Tavish get on it.
Alright, cool. Like I said, control and engineering, difficulty 2. Can I get Chris once again to give me the ship? Assisting with structure and engineering.
Can I bring somebody else into it?
Of course, who are you thinking?
I was thinking about one of my engineering team.
Okay, cool. Anyone?
Or maybe both of them.
Well, there's the codes. It's going to be 2 for
Yeah,
me,
let's-
so you can bring both of them in if you really want to.
Yes, if that's okay.
Yep, that's fine. Okay, in that case, Liz, you're going to be taking control of Tavish, giving me control and engineering with 2 dice, with a focus.
No, I don't think.
Not really, because mostly... Oh no, shields. Perfect focus, right there. Connie, can I get you to be Ensign? Who can give me control and engineering with a focus on maintenance? And finally, can I get Mark to be Ensign Sharajarani?
Cool. And it's control engineering.
It's also control and engineering. She has maintenance, which is not just so
Yay.
nice.
Engineering team to the rescue.
4 overall with it's different
5.
2, so you get 2 of what you needed, so back up to 5 it goes.
No, it's 5. We got. Oh, yeah, we got 5.
I beg your pardon, I missed it. So we are back to full. And so, eventually, some difficulty later, you come across matter nebula, an enormous tower of organic mycelial matter emerges from a swirling vortex of subspace distortion. The mycelial construct dwarfs your starship, making it look like a toy. The construct resembles a mammoth tree with a central trunk growing out of storm clouds of twisted dark matter. Dozens of branches spread out from the central trunk in various directions. Each branch of the trunk, the construct I should say, ends with a translucent bubble of mycelial matter that glows faintly with violet energy. You found the location of where the mycelial energy is coming from, and it is a vast mycelial, well, growth. What you're gonna do, and how you will do it, we'll have to wait for next time, because we're about to run out of time. So, you've managed to make it to the heart of this dark matter nebula and have found a vast mycelial construct. Attach a scoop to a probe. A dang big scoop. What will happen? What will be inside the construct if you try to go inside? What's outside the construct if you try to look on the outside? What's the deal with it being half in and half out of a breach in subspace? We'll have to find out next time. And unfortunately, I am actually on holiday next Sunday, so we can't do this next week. It'll have to wait till the week after. So I have to ask the crew if they are available for the 25th of August.
25th I can do. I may be a bit late, but I can do it.
I shouldn't have anything to do that day.
I believe so. It's very rare that I work on a Sunday.
I do not know. I could be away that weekend. I may not be away that weekend. I'm not too sure. I will let you know during the week.
That would be helpful, thank you. In which case, well, yes. What will happen next? What will the Cones crew find on or in the mycelial construct? Will they find any tardigrades? If so, what will happen when they do? We'll have to wait and see. In the meantime, I'm going to thank everybody who watched the stream for doing so. We hope you enjoyed it as much as we appear to enjoy playing in it. For those who are watching this on YouTube later, if you did enjoy it, consider giving us a like, because it helps us with others involved in Star Trek related videos and actual plays of role-playing games. In the meantime, we ask you to do like the Vulcans do, to live long and prosper, and maybe be a bit suspicious about admirals who come along trying to open up old projects that should have been perhaps left in the same place they keep the Ark of the Covenant. But also to engage, I should say, in infinite diversity and infinite combinations. We will see you all in 2 weeks' time, we hope, and until then, treat each other with respect and kindness, because these times continue to be crazy. So, with that in mind, thank you very much, folks. We will see you when we see you next. Hailing frequencies are now closed.